Right, welcome everyone. Let's try something different this time. This time I'm not going to play a game. I'm going to use virtual reality for different means. I'm going to explain what. I actually have been for like forever, since I've been making these, I've always wanted to see my 3D videos inside a giant freaking theater. Theater screens always produce awesome 3D because of their size, and it would be really cool to be able to watch my own productions on such a giant display. So I sort of put two and two together and realized that VR cinema has been available forever on share.oculusvr.com. If you look in the casual category on Oculus Share, you can find VR cinema, and it lets you load any stereoscopic movie file you have on your computer, and it lets you play it as if you were inside this giant theater. So I loaded up one of my rocketry videos finally, and I'm getting to take a look at what my 3D video looks like inside a giant 3D theater, which is fucking awesome. So let's take a look at this. Let's go. This is a video I shot last May. It's got lots of ground video, and the only downside I'd say here is I was using the Sony TD20 stereoscopic camcorder for the ground footage, and that camcorder does not produce a lot of depth. Now, the cool thing here is that, as you're going to see here, I was using another stereoscopic camcorder right on the rocket. So, oh boy, is this ever so awesome. Oh, this is coming out great. Well, that just looks badass. I'm sorry. That is fucking awesome. And you can see the difference between the camera that was on the rocket and the camera that's on the ground. The camera that's on the ground does produce depth, but much less. The eyes of the camera are much closer together. Still though, it does give for some comfortable viewing. That is a big advantage of that stereoscopic camcorder, is that you get some very comfortable viewing afterwards because there's never too much depth. And that's what can happen with 3D video when you're the cameraman. You can actually make a little mistake while filming something really important, and then you end up with unwatchable footage because you had way too much depth, or it was just broken in a frame or something like that. Well, it's very hard to do with the Sony because it doesn't produce so much depth that it allows you to make that error in the first place. Wow, these actually look really great. Even the Sony shots look freaking awesome. Oh yeah, the dirt coming right out of the screen right into my eyes. You know, I'm not that much for out-of-window illusion in 3D. I'm not that much for when it's exaggerated, but when it happens organically, it's a lot of fun. For instance, you're filming a subject and something happens to pass between the camera and the subject, you're gonna get a little bit of out-of-window illusion, and it's freaking awesome. There's a lot of it over here because of the debris that get tossed around every launch. I mean, these rockets are not small, by the way. These are not ST rockets. We require authorizations to launch these. They are high power. You're gonna see this one emitted a lot of sparks. It actually set fire on the launch pad. It's freaking awesome. And you can see the rain of titanium sparks falling after that. Yeah, that came out great. That's my rocket right there with the camera on the side. There she goes again. Wow, this video is coming out freaking awesome. And you can see this one's got massive amounts of depth compared to the ground footage. And this was filmed with the JVC. The handheld was done with the JVC, which has much more depth than the Sony. And then this is the iTech camera on board the rocket, which for once I used a full consumer retail 3D camcorder right on the rocket instead of doing a custom one. It gave way better results. That's the JVC again, doing a great job with the distant footage. There's not much depth because it's distant, but given that camera's capabilities, it actually is the best one to use to film something far away. Oh wow, that is just freaking awesome. There we go, with the titles that are slightly out of window, just ever so slightly. This one title is really cool because it's right in between the fins. So I gotta give it to VR Cinema. This is a very useful application, and it is somewhat simple. And I'll show you something cool you can actually do. You see, I can actually get up. Oh, sat me back down. Hang on, I'm actually gonna get out of here. There we go. I can just go through the lane there, and I'm just standing up in the theater. As I just walk down to the screen. What are we showing here? Oh no, the video's over. Oh, look at that. And there, that's our club's logo right there, the CQF. Le Club Québécois de Physionautique. It's a French name. We also use the QRC for English, which is Quebec Rocketry Club, which is pretty simple. So I got the theater exits there. This is cool. The mouse only affects the yaw and not the pitch. This is very well designed. This is actually extremely VR friendly, of course, because it is specifically a VR app. I wonder now. I wonder. No way. No. Okay. No. I wonder if I run to the other end. I can't jump. I'm pressing space. That's supposed to actually restart the video. No, eh? Okay. Damn it. I can't exit? This is not up to fire code, Mr. Developer. It's, I need exits here. What if there's a VR fire? I do not want a VR burn to death. Yeah, so aside from not being up to fire code, this is a freaking awesome application to use. Alright, so let's take a look at some more content in this. Alright, now we're gonna go for a different type of content. Let me start it up here. This is one of my dive videos. Now, oddly enough, I had to go back to those I shot in 2012, where I made my first pair of 3D dive videos. And I'm sort of realizing something when I watch the other ones in this theater. I actually went through them just before I started recording, and they are shaky. And it's not that I'm not aware, while I'm filming these, that 3D needs to not be shaky to be comfortable. The problem is it's extremely difficult to do underwater, I find, so far. I'll obviously gain skill with this. But hey, look, my videos from April of this year, I guess that was more current because even though I'm supposedly gaining experience, they were more shaky than this second part from 2012, which is really... you might find it moves a lot and stuff, but it actually is way better than the others. I think it caught a couple of dives with very low current, and you're gonna see the visibility was also pretty awesome. And I went in Riviera Beach in Florida, like it says at the bottom of the screen there. It's a place I hadn't went before. It's about 40 minutes from where I'm at when I'm in Florida. So I had to drive 40 minutes up north to get there, and it did not disappoint. It was one of my best dives. Actually, no, let me take that back. It was my best dive. This is the first thing I saw when I went into the water, the barracudas. I don't know what happened during that dive. I was extremely careful with the camera. I mean, I did a way better job than even the other video, which was only like a couple of days before. And I also did a better job in my videos this year. So this is just a moment where I settled down at the bottom. I just started the dive, and I am already surrounded by about 12, maybe more barracudas. And all those barracudas you just saw were all larger than the largest barracuda I had seen prior to this dive. I'd never seen them that big. And suddenly I'm surrounded by them, which was kind of awesome. There you go, you got a nice spotted moray there. Really weird looking animal. Slightly shaky moment, but I wanted to do the bubble thing. And there we go. Some relatively steady barracuda shots. I guess when I got to the bottom during that dive, first I was deeper than I've ever gone. It was like 90 feet. And when I saw the kudas and the way they were behaving, extremely confident. These guys are literally cutting my path right now, and the second one is actually doing it boldly. It's like, fuck you, I will go by first. This is probably a 450-pound grouper hiding in a boat. I really wanted to catch it. I actually chased it and almost ran out my air trying to do so. In the process, I stop in front of one of the wrecks, and I kneel to adjust my camera, and I notice this guy sleeping under the front of the boat. On the second dive of that trip, I actually went to follow a giant turtle, and it was freaking awesome because she's huge, okay? And she let me got really close. I was literally stretching out my hand to the shell. You can't quite see it when it happens because it's underneath the camera, but I was literally like swimming above the turtle. It actually just let me tag along. I guess it's used to divers. I'm not the first one it sees. So that's a shot of me. That's the guide actually taking a shot right there. I asked him to. And that's the guide who just filmed me with his camera dangling from his jacket. It's a pretty cool shot. I figured, you know, what I did is I basically went on my back and just started sinking below him. And it was really cool. So yeah, that Riviera dive was freaking awesome. The corridors was my favorite spot with the 3 wrecks there at the beginning. And again, these guys, this is another shot from the corridors earlier on. And the turtle. So the place with the multiple wrecks, I think it's when I saw, you know, we also saw a lemon shark pass by in the distance. There was barracudas. There's the nurse shark under the boat. There's the huge fish in the boat. I sort of, I guess, was more careful on that dive than other dives. More shallower dives with smaller life forms, smaller, far less dangerous life forms. The kudas kept me in check. The fact that I constantly had to pay attention to where the barracudas were, I don't like when I lose track of barracudas, because they do like to sneak up on you and just play with your head. They're not going to attack, but they just like to mess with you. And I was more diligent on that dive, let's say, and that sort of resulted in more careful footage. This part is another story. This was the next day. I actually went to dive much closer to home in Hillsborough Beach. And this is the Ancient Mariner. I frequently go to the Ancient Mariner, so nothing new. But these guys were cool. These are greater amberjacks, obviously babies. They're about 14-inch long. And they were like, I don't know, man. They kind of came up to my camera a good dozen times going, yo, man, you got a fucking problem? I can see a fucking red light on that thing. Look, look, look. They're charging my freaking casing. They did this for, I don't know, 5-10 minutes maybe? Oh, I would say 5 because a dive lasts about 22 minutes the way I do it, so. Yeah, 5 minutes. Stuck around with these guys. Eventually I got tired of them. And my dive buddy was actually hunting lionfish with a harpoon. This is a blowfish at his cleaning station, and it appears that I have disturbed the cleaning process with my camera and my flashlight. But these videos are freaking awesome to watch because I shot them myself, and this is where I really believe in stereoscopic 3D. If you follow this channel, you notice I'm very 3D, and this is an element of it right here, the video. I'm very glad that I got so many stereoscopic camcorders and that I can capture my own memories in 3D, because as time passes by, 3D will only get more capable and better. Obviously, the holy grail of 3D would be glasses-free 3D. It's gonna happen one day, and I'll have all this footage to watch in HD. I keep as many originals as I can, of course, if I ever need to process it in a different format. The best formats are those where you keep the full definition for each eye. I have all of those in an archive, on an archived hard disk. So I already have a whole bunch of memories in 3D, and I just spoke about 3D getting better. I'm using something that just made 3D get way better. I can actually experience a full-blown theater at home with the Oculus Rift, or whatever VR device people will get in the future. You'll be able to do this. And as the VR device itself gets HD, and then Ultra HD, and then Ultra HD, then it's gonna be like you're actually there for real, no kidding, holy shit, I'm there. It's almost there already. I mean, I don't feel not convinced right now. I'll use the word again. This is definitely convincing. This is very convincing. Anyways, let's take a look at something else, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. I am having fun here, so hope you are too. Alright, before I start this 3D video of mine, which is sort of a random pick here. I want to address my good YouTube friend Eincrow about something regarding stereoscopic 3D, probably a point on which we could agree to disagree. I was watching one of your videos. I forget exactly which one it was. You were reviewing a game. It's actually really well produced, by the way. Your videos look fucking incredible. Oh, just a side note. For other viewers than Eincrow right now, I'm actually going to put a link to Eincrow's Stereoscopic 3D channel in the description below, so you can actually go and check out his channel. He's a stereoscopic 3D gamer, and he took a stab at 3D cinema in one of his videos. And he literally called it bad. And you know what? Let's be fair here. Let's be fair. Okay, in gaming, you got all these insane, crazy settings with the 3D depth, convergence, and so forth. And these are things that you can't have in cinema because they are using a fixed device to film their stereoscopic 3D, and then they can only use means of post-production to adjust said stereoscopic 3D in terms of depth or convergence. And you can only go so far. You're almost better off, if you need to do a lot of adjustments, you're almost better off using post-conversion. Just go ahead and film in 2D and use post-conversion. Star Trek did a pretty damn good job with that. But the thing I need to bring up is it's kind of unfair to slam 3D cinema because of the fact that it does not have the flexibility that 3D gaming has. Considering the fact, I find 3D cinema, personally I find it incredibly awesome. I own 5 stereoscopic camcorders. I'm literally wall-to-wall 3D. 3 3D monitors and 5 stereoscopic camcorders. If I count the monitor I bought at work, I have 4 stereoscopic monitors. And if I count the other one I'm about to give to a friend, I have 5. So 5 monitors, 5 cameras. So I don't only believe in the gaming aspect of it. I highly believe in the movie aspect of it. And personally, considering the fact I think the 3D is really good with the tools they have to produce it at this point. And I'll go into specific titles as I start rolling this video here. Let's get this one out of the way. It's an excellent title. Avatar is a great 3D movie. The 3D ninja in that production is very, very high quality. Look, the flight scenes give you vertigo, and that's the movie that made me realize that crash zooming in 3D is fucking awesome. Another title, this is more unlikely. One that I find memorable, and I would say to a point of like 30% because of the Stereo 3D, and that's Fright Night. I loved the movie Fright Night, and I would say 30% of that is because of the 3D. It was a really fucking cool movie on every aspect, in my opinion. For what it is, it delivers itself as what it is, and it's just a blast to watch. And now, bigger productions, you'd have, for example, Hugo, which was just an incredible take on stereoscopic 3D, because we're talking about a movie that doesn't necessarily need to be in stereo 3D, yet is, and it is really well done. And the attention to the depth detail was done very well in that movie. But the best of the best, I gotta mention it last, is Life of Pi. That is my favorite stereoscopic 3D movie by far. It is dominant. There's a reason why it won that year's cinematography Oscar. The guys who picked the Oscar aren't dumb. They know the work involved in making the movie that was Life of Pi, and they recognize the difficulty in achieving the quality of stereoscopic 3D that they had. So that was freaking awesome. That's for my little word to Eincrow. I'm totally for 3D movies. I enjoy watching them. Of course, when the theater projector is faulty, it's another story. It's a pain in the ass when you realize you're getting crosstalk in a theater, which you should never get. IMAX theaters seem to be more careful. For some reason, I don't know if IMAX has sort of oversight on the quality, but it's really, really better to go see it in IMAX than in Real D, if you got the option. Those are from my notes on 3D. I like it in gaming. Obviously, I fucking love it in gaming because we got so much flexibility. But I also appreciate what we can do with the tools we have in 3D. The film you're watching right now is just a random compilation of shots that I filmed in Hillsborough Beach. And it's actually a pretty smooth film. I'm really surprised. I did not preview this one before recording this video. I just went ahead and slapped it on the screen, figured it'd be a good pick, and I'm actually surprised. This one is really, really smooth and good to watch and gives me that impression that I'm back there. This is not necessarily the work of virtual reality. Virtual reality right now is convincing me that I'm sitting in a theater watching my own film, but the film itself and its depth is just right. It feels like I'm standing there again, filming it all over again. I really like this. Like right now I was knee deep in the water, really, really careful not to trip in the sand because I'm holding a $1,000 camera in my hands. And there you go, a little zoom on the lighthouse. I think the right eye lens freaks out at this point, but fuck, it's not even apparent right now. It looks great. So yeah, that was my little set of shots in Hillsborough Beach. So like I was mentioning earlier, all memories that I captured. And you know, we have the family has a condo in Florida, and that's where we actually go vacation very frequently. And there are chances one day that something goes wrong in the family, we lose that condo, or we sell it, or we do something foolish like that. And if we lose that place, I want those memories in stereoscopic 3D. Fuck 2D. Fuck 2D hard. It does not reproduce the immersion that I'm getting right now. And the fact that I have a virtual reality device to just slap my ass in a movie theater and watch my own movie, that's fucking awesome. Look at this guy's Christmas lights. This is our neighbor. The neighbor has a house that is probably worth like $40 million. His yacht is as large as his freaking house, and these are his Christmas lights. This is one person's Christmas lights. The heads of the deers actually move. So you can believe that when I saw this, I actually went back home, got my stereo 3D cam, walking along the freaking A1A. Notice that this is a sort of highway. Notice how the cars slow down so much to check out the Christmas lights. And I'm there standing on the side of a highway filming some freaking Christmas lights with a stereo 3D cam. It had to be done. And this is on the beach back home where you clean your feet. And I got a shot of the lighthouse there. That was just for that. That's how the film ends. And I guess that's how these first impressions of VR cinema are gonna end. This was awesome. I need to use this more often. I like to watch 3D movies. I pretty much made that clear at the beginning of this viewing, this third viewing. I really like to watch 3D, so this I would actually not mind sitting for an hour watching, an hour or two watching a full 3D movie. You take a break, you go to the bathroom, you come back, put your Rift back on, and keep watching. This is really awesome. This is really awesome. The frame rate, I don't know what happened to the frame rate right now. It is blazing. Because when I record, I do get stagger, and I do get syncing issues, only when I record, and I'm fine with them as long as I know that I'm recording. But if I turn the recording off, everything goes to like 450 frames per second, no ripping, no input lag. This is a surprising thing though. When I'm recording, I get the behavior of VSync in terms of refresh rate, but I don't get input lag. It's like Fraps is imposing a frame cap, but it is not actually imposing proper refresh rate, which means the VSync buffer never actually embarks on duty, which is actually pretty good. Except for the slight ripping I get when I turn my head, but that's no big deal. I mean, I know I'm recording right now. This is really cool. Okay, so enough VR cinema, people. It's on share.oculusvr.com in the casual category. Very, very good app. Great to watch your own 3D movies, or if you have got digital 3D movies and slapping them on this screen and watch them as if you were sitting in a giant theater. All right, so see you next time, people.